Hi guys, it's Carol and thank you for stopping by for my stitching update. It has been several weeks since I last spoke with you. I was traveling and then at the end of the school year, my kids had a bunch of stuff like immediately upon the beginning of summer vacation. So I actually totally fell out of my routine, and this included stitching, unfortunately. But I did touch a bunch of projects while I was gone, and I am taking this opportunity here at the end of the month to actually look at my June goals and how I did with them and go into what I'm planning on doing in July, which is hopefully a little better than how I managed to do in June. So let's just jump right in. First one is Coffee Quaker by Heartstring Samplery, and this one was supposed to be a small project that I started back during the early days of the pandemic, and my original thought was like to be like a great knock this out during that short time that I thought we were going to be stuck at home, and well, 2 years later I'm still not done, but whatever. So here was last time, and here it is today. I've mostly been working on just finishing off this flower here on the left side of the piece. I don't remember when the last time I mentioned what this is. I am doing this on 40 count winter brew from R&R Reproductions, and I just love the hand of this fabric. I love the various brown tones on it. So I don't ever put a huge amount in any given time, which is funny because this really isn't a huge project, but I got this done. I'm really happy with it. I love how this flower looks. It was a lot of fun to stitch. So this will come back out sometime soon. My next piece is Modern Folk Embroidery's A Family Patchwork Sampler, which is the stitch along from 2020. I have been working up here in the January block. Here it is last time. This is where it is today. I have been working on filling out more of this motif right here and added this flower, very blocky looking flower, so I'm finishing this out. It is a lot of fun. I know that I had said that I wanted to go down here into May and keep working. I decided I wanted to I wasn't feeling comfortable with continuing down here. I wanted to add a little bit more right here, which just brought it all down. So my goal is still to come down here into the month of May. This is not the one I'm planning on trying to finish off this month. I mean, obviously it's not finished off, but I am happy with how it looks, because instead of it being just me stitching down like just this left side of the piece, I'm trying to fill it in a little more. I like it. It's pretty. This was actually like a favorite. When I pull it out, I actually have trouble putting it down. So I'm figuring out that when I work on it, instead of assuming that I'm only going to do like a day, I probably should go ahead and give myself like 2, maybe even more. It's just really been when I'm sitting down, this is the one that I don't want to stop. So I should embrace it. For the first of my Mirabilias since my last video, it's Autumn Queen, which you'll recognize because she comes out pretty much every time. And this is where she was last time. And here she is today. She's almost getting big enough that I'm going to need to start backing up from filming just so you can see everything in frame. Just realized that. I have started working on these colors here along it's the cape and the very edge of her skirt. I'm trying to remember what else I did. I haven't touched her for almost 2 weeks at this point, so I've actually kind of forgotten. I wish I had more meaningful things to say. I wanted to work on her issue. I was actually a lot of this work was done on my flight. The only problem is I didn't have any scissors with me, so I wanted to work on the whisper, but I need to be able to cut the short lengths. But I put my scissors in my checked baggage, because I know that they say you can take like scissors that are less than 4 inches from the pivot point, but my embroidery scissors are all really sharp looking, and I didn't want TSA to take them away from me. So any cross stitching that I was doing on the flight, it was really only the stuff that it was long enough lengths to justify not having to snip at the end, and so I haven't touched this one since. But I mean, I have like these great areas to start filling in the whisper. It'd be fantastic. She's coming along, she's right around 40% according to my tracking. So didn't quite make my June goal. My stated June goal was to hit 50% on this one. Obviously hasn't happened, but I mean, it's also not that far away, so even though I made it to the end of the month and get what I wanted done, I still feel like she's on track to get done this year. At least I hope. Fingers crossed. My next memorabilia piece is Winter Queen, which I have not put a huge amount of focus on since starting her in Memorabilia March, which is kind of almost a little sad because she's such a pretty piece, but I just haven't picked her up. That's okay. I did take her with me. So there's where she was last time. This is where we are today. I have finished out her left shoulder, and as you can see, this is her jawline. Hands that are not quite filled in enough for me to do the back stitch, but I thought I was going to do more, but started filling in the cloak down here. I don't know how well you can see it because I don't know if the grays show up well on camera. Didn't do a lot. This one, maybe 100 stitches, maybe. I don't know why. I think it's because I don't have enough filled in here to be able to do the back stitch to really make her hands pop, and a lot of like through here is beading, so I can't fill this in. And like when I was down here working, it was really cool because I felt like all the progress, because you could see, you know, the very beautiful blue satin coming in, and then up here it's not so much. I'm thinking that as I continue filling in her head and doing her hair, that will help. But in the meantime, this one's not my focus, so it's okay. So my last memorabilia for this period is Lady of the Mist. She's kind of the one that out of my 4, so I have 5 memorabilias going right now, 4 kind of working in rotation in addition to my focus piece, which is Autumn Queen. She's the one who's kind of gets the short end of the stick every time. I don't know why. I think it's because I might have having the 4 is like a little too many, but at the same time, when she comes up, I do like working on her. I just haven't been focusing. That's kind of one thing that I am finding. I'm not doing a great job of figuring, like balancing this is my rotation that I'm going to work on basically once a month. Contrast that to the one I'm working on every week and figure it out. But anyway, I am happy with what I got done on this. So here she is last time. And here she is today. This is literally her lap right here, the big swath. So I'm starting work on the torso, more of the bodice. So I don't know, I'd been kind of filling in here. This right here is the edge of where her glove is going to be. I know it's mostly still just a blob of color right now, and I'm really hoping that that these greens are translating well in camera. I really don't know, but she's a lot of fun. I really do like, so most of what I'm working in here, the lightest color here is 762. The rest of these are they go everywhere from like, I think I've used 501, 502, 503, and 504. I really love that range of colors. They're just so pretty, and I don't know, I like it. I'm looking forward to coming back to this, but I think I say that on every single one of my pieces. It's okay. I like that you can kind of see with this darker color right here, like I said, this is her waist as she's seated. And then I'm not too far from being able to do all the cool flowers that are on her bodice. So this one's cute. See her again in a month. Oh, the other thing I did figure out. So I'm doing her on 32 count raw linen. I was at my L&S purchasing all the supplies I needed for my new start. I'll come back to that in a minute. But I was like, hey, I think I know what I'm going to use, but just made her pull out all the 28 count fabrics. And she's flipping through, and I was like, oh, what's that one? She's like, oh, that was just raw. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't need to use that because I already have like 2 other projects. But I realized that staring at a stack of linens that if I'm going to use something that is demonstrably not white, I am really drawn towards this color. I mean, I think it's kind of a perfect, it's a great grayish. It's not too warm, it's not too cool. It's kind of a great neutral. So like, I just thought it was interesting that I did realize that I am drawn to this a lot. The next piece that I worked on is the Prairie Schoolers, a Prairie Garden, and I am still not done with that bottom motif, unfortunately. Here it is last time. This is where I am today. Obviously, it's not finished. I'm still working on that bottom motif. I don't know why I'm just over these violets, but I got so bored with them, I decided to start working on the daffodil above it, which was, I mean, you can't tell they're daffodils yet, but I mean, from the chart, I know they are. I put this down basically middle of the month, and I never picked it back up, so obviously I'm not going to get it finished this month. My intent is to get it done during July, and hopefully I will make the point of stitching a little bit every day. Even if I do basically one length of floss every day, it should be easy. I just hadn't done it, so that's kind of my fault. I don't know, it's like if I create a goal for myself that I didn't create the plan to facilitate it getting done, and it didn't help, so I spent like half of the month not stitching at all. It just didn't pick anything up, so it's not going to stitch itself. So it goes. Okay, and then my last whip for the week, or that you've already seen, is Summer Symphony. It's an old Lucilla kit, and here's where it was last time. And here we are today. I've mostly worked on doing these pink tones. There's like 3 different pinks. It's really, I will say they're really pretty. I love how bright and cheerful they are. I just haven't put about a huge amount of time on this one. So my intent when I first was packing everything to go traveling was, okay, and I'm gonna say I've had a bunch of time, like downtime. My husband was actually doing like a work trip. I was a tag along. So we had meetings and stuff to do. I was sitting in a hotel room like, okay, I'm gonna cross stitch. I have no responsibilities, no kids, no dogs, no nothing. It was great, by the way. So I did feel like I got a lot of time stitching. I was really unfocused about it. That's neither here nor there. The real problem is I was planning on focusing on this one. The chart is huge. When I say huge, I mean it's literally this huge folded sheet of paper, and on the inside it's a 3-color chart. So it's got blue, red, and black symbols on it, and I just find it awkward to use. It's like almost too big for me to focus in on, so I really need to make a working copy, but the working copy has to be in color because of the fact it's multicolor printed, and so me dealing with this huge sheet of paper wasn't working. So that's why I didn't get as much done. I really wanted to. This was like, I was so excited. This was the one that was going to be it. And it wasn't. That's okay. I actually figured out I have a scanner on my printer. I had no idea. It's the printer I don't use because it was a free to a good home, so I always forget I have it. So I'm going to work on using that, go ahead and scan it, print off my working copy, and hopefully get started on really like working on this, because it's just, I will say it, I like that it is an easy enough stitch. So we'll come back, this I'm going to pull back out this week. So that brings me to my new start. This is Heartstring Samplery, Consider the Lilies. I kitted everything up last week. I'm missing like 3 or 4 of the fancy flosses that were out at the LNS. I'll get around to them at some points, but in the meantime, this is it. I know, teeny tiny, like so, like right here. So you have Adam and Eve and the serpent tempting them in the very center of the piece. So thus far I have the serpent's head. Yeah, that's it. I don't have a plan for how I'm going to do this. I just know that it's really pretty, and for some reason the fabric, the smell of it makes me think of my grandmother's house, and I don't know why. It is the oddest thing. So like every time I'm handling this, I don't even know why, but whatever. So I am doing this on the called for 28 count winter brew, and I just love how mammoth the fabric piece is. This is going to be such an awesome piece. for putting in my dining. I actually walked in there, like put the fabric up against the wall and said, this is gonna be great. I'll get it done, like, I don't know, a decade from now, because that's the speed I stitch at. That's okay. I think this was so cool. I love all the fibers. It's a really cool piece, so looking forward to it. Okay, so I didn't really accomplish the goals I set out to do in June. I intended on having a prairie garden finished. Obviously I don't. I intended to get 50% on Autumn Queen. I haven't, but I mean 40%, I mean I'm feeling good about it. I did not get the whole page done, or like a whole month complete on one of the Modern Folk embroidery pieces. Again, this is really what happens though if you only stitch for half the month. There's no way. My goal really required me to sit and work every day this month, keeping my eye on the goal, and I really didn't. I was feeling like I was getting pulled off, and it's following whims are a good thing. But I saw a really interesting thing that I thought was helpful, and it was talking about the difference between how professionals view things and amateurs view things. And the idea is a professional is going to work on it every day even when they're not feeling like it, and amateurs are really willing to let life get in the way. And I was like, that's me. I'm the person who likes to, life gets in the way and then I let it be my excuse. No reason to do that, but it's because I'm not doing a good job of articulating on a daily basis. Like, I have a pretty good idea what I want to get done in a week, and then I don't come up with a way to facilitate it getting done in the week. And then when I don't do it, then I start feeling guilty, so then I start avoiding, and yes, I'm very good at avoiding. So that's honestly how I end up with not stitching for the last 2 weeks. Except for this I only started like 3 days ago, and I'll get better at it. I'm not too worried about it. My intentions for July involve pretty much finishing my June goals. So I walked into June with like a really cool stated set of goals, and that was helpful because at least I knew what I needed to be working on. I now know where I failed. I did not schedule out how to get them done over the course of the month. I think I just kind of expected it would happen without me making the effort. It didn't work. Again, okay, I only stitched for half the month, so that in and of itself goes a long way. But when I wasn't stitching, I didn't have a plan for figuring out how to clear the hurdle of I'm not getting my goals done. Just pick something up and work on it. I was struggling with that. So I think it means that me setting like a place that I want to get to works pretty well. How I'm tracking the progress is really working well for me. Now I need to figure out a little bit of a, hey, how do I want to schedule this? So that's going to be the thing that I'm going to work on, is how do I keep myself focused every day and not just leap from project to project, because while I was on vacation, it was actually pretty obvious to me that I would pick up on a day, in a single day, like 3 different projects, but I wasn't getting a lot done on any single project because 3 projects in a day is not a huge amount. I mean, I wasn't going to get a lot done because when you're picking up 3 projects, and I mean, I was getting probably 4 good hours of stitching in while watching TV. But it meant that none of them had like a really obvious huge chunk of work done, which is what I was hoping to get. And so maybe that's what happened, is when I was done with traveling, I was feeling a little demoralized, like I touched a bunch of things but you can't see a lot of progress, and recognizing, hey, from a feedback loop for me, I need to see that progress to feel like it was worth it. Like I said, I'll crack that code maybe this month, but in the meantime, for the next week, I am going to pretty much be working on projects you've already seen. So going back, we're going to work on Consider the Lilies, Autumn Queen. I'm going to pull Stargazer back out because I haven't seen it in a while, The Fruit of Plenty, and then I think Ave Maria. So I do have in my head like this unstated thing of I need to touch 5 projects in a week. So those are my 5. And now I'm going to have to parse out my week and figure out how to get them done. So thank you so much for sticking around, and thank you for being understanding about my gap. I know that's the other thing. I really do need to film like every single week. It helps keep me on track. I had no idea until literally I threw my routine out the window. And then every day you go without sharing is another day it's easier to say, I'm not going to do this. So I will see you next week. In the meantime, I hope you have a great stitching week, and I'll see you then. Bye.